Hey, 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 Travel Brats! Happy Travel Brat Tuesday! It's Soph
and Nat
coming to you from the studio, guys, and today we are taking you back to Europe to talk about, drumroll please,
Ghent.
Ghent!
Do you know where Ghent is? Oh, you do, because I told you. Would you have known, though?
No.
Have you heard of Ghent?
Yes.
Yes.
I have.
Okay. I feel like Ghent is a pretty...
In a movie.
Yeah. Like people
Once
go
upon a
to
time.
Ghent. In the olden days, they would go to Ghent and do fancy things.
And get in the castles and on the streets and eat the croissants. Okay, I don't know what. I'm very confused again.
Well, you bring up a good point though with the croissants. Everyone can enjoy a good croissant, but
that's right.
We are back in the Dutch/Flemish part of Holland.
So no croissants. Right?
No croissants. Actually, it's funny because a lot of the places that we've talked about in Belgium are in Flanders. The only two places that speak French were when we were in Namur in Wallonia.
Oh yes, I remember.
Oh yes, you remember. And then in Brussels. But other than that, we've stayed in Flanders.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, it's fitting. My family is Dutch, and so Flemish and Dutch. I mean, again, as I said in a previous episode, there's a little bit of a head-butting situation between the Flemish and the Dutch.
Fine.
But,
the Dutch are okay.
You know?
All right.
I feel like it's like, you know, if you're a New Zealander and people are like, oh, are you from Australia?
And you're like,
oh, excuse me. You know, and then if you're Flemish and someone's like, are you from Holland? Are you from the Netherlands? Then they're like, hello. You know, so it's kind of one of those things. I feel like a lot of Canadians probably in Europe get that. Oh, are you American? No, thank you.
I will tell you what the funniest thing was, is my sister and I were in Ireland one time, and this couple that was on vacation clearly walked up to us with very American accents, and we're like, hola! And we were like, hey.
Oh, my, you're like, yeah,
it was really
we're
funny.
American too, bro.
Yeah, but I mean, I totally feel people when they do that. Like, I've gone up to, like, I've thought Australian people, no, I thought South African people sounded like Australian.
Well, South Africans understand that their accent is so wacky.
It's similar.
It's like they probably get British, they get Australian, they get New Zealander, they get probably all sorts of weird combinations
like,
of
take
things.
it easy. I'm sorry, I haven't heard that many South Africans speak.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's,
It's
sorry.
a very and side note about South Africa, also Afrikaans, the language, is it derives from Dutch.
No way.
Yep. So a lot of the people in South Africa actually have Dutch-sounding accents as well. So there's kind of that influence as well.
It still goes back to Europe.
Everywhere. We're everywhere. If you can't tell, I'm Dutch. I already said that. Okay.
You're like Dutch, Canadian. All right, I'm moving on. All right, fine.
So many things. I love how every Belgium episode is like the first 5 minutes is just me talking about Dutch people. Just, yeah. So, Ghent. Ghent is amazing. I loved this city. So first off, my first trip to Belgium was, of course, to visit my sister and her husband and their newborn baby in Brussels.
Not your daddy, because Belgian chocolates. Daddy's from. Not your daddy. What? I'm sorry, you've seen Austin Powers? Where he's like, mini me, daddy brought you chocolates.
Oh my
and he's like,
gosh.
Belgian chocolates, that's where daddy's from.
Yep.
Yeah,
yep,
sorry,
that's why I went. That's why I went, guys. It was because I'm obsessed with Austin Powers. I just had to go.
Her daddy doesn't live there.
Oh my god.
Sorry. Okay, I'm done.
We're off to a great start.
Yes.
So, visiting Brussels, and my sister, who has just given birth like 2 weeks ago, is like, let's go somewhere.
Woman.
She is like, she's amazing. So she's just like ready to jump and go. She's like, I'm going to take you all over Brussels. And so the first day I get there, she's like, you know, trying to keep me awake because I just traveled and jet lag. And so she's trying to keep me awake. We go all over Brussels. I'm like, I cannot believe you had a baby 2 weeks ago and you're just like walking all over the city with me. And then she's like, so I got us tickets to go to Ghent on Saturday. And I think I got into town on a Thursday. And she's like, yeah, in 2 days we're going to go and we're going to get on a train and we're going to go to Ghent. It's an amazing city. I really want to show it to you and we're going to take a family trip. So we all went. They took Sophia, my brother-in-law Julian, Rachel, my sister, and myself. And then they took Sophia. It was Sophia's first trip.
Oh, no, guys, she's not talking about us. She's talking about the niece.
Yeah, sorry, my niece Sophia.
This is my first trip! Oh my goodness!
So it was her first trip as a baby. She's 2 weeks old, and the thing is, if you have a baby in a European city or any big European city or like a place like New York or LA or Chicago, it's like your kid is going to get used to getting up and going.
Yeah.
And they live on the go and just travel and getting on trains. And so at this point, she'd already been on like the subway, the metro they have, because that's how they travel.
Right.
And so being on a train wasn't like this new thing, but it was the longest trip she had taken at that point in her little life.
Wow.
And she definitely had little moments of struggle. You know, sleeping was, she was trying to nap on the go. Anyway, kids are fun, and it was an experience. And my sister is so brave for just diving in and just saying, we're going to try this. You know, she's got to get used to it eventually. We've got to get, really, the parents have to get used to it eventually. But it was an awesome trip, and Sophia did so well. And so we get on the train, we go to Ghent, and we get on this free walking tour, which a lot of European cities have these free walking tours, and you just pay at the end, you just like give a tip. So we just, you know, tipped, I think we did like €5 per person. And so the guy makes bank. Like, he does very well for himself, because he or she, whoever these tour guys are, ours was a guy, they're probably taking like 5 or 6 tours a day. And they probably have like an average of 30 people on these tours.
Yeah.
And people are paying them in tips, and they get paid from the company. So
do the math.
It's a good gig. Free walking tours, and they're great for us because, I mean, every city that I did a free walking tour in when I was in Europe, back 10 years ago, back last year, anytime, it's always so much fun.
That's cool.
The free tours are great.
I wonder where the company gets paid by the city?
I'm guessing so.
Yeah. Or maybe like, you know, other companies, but maybe do they take you they take you into places, or they just walk
I think there's
around?
Probably they take us places. They'll say like, oh, here's the best place to get this, or here's the best place to get this. Now I don't know if they get sponsorships, or, you know,
that's
things
cool,
like that,
though.
but it really is a cool thing because they really do give great suggestions of places to go.
I bet.
And the tour, I think in Ghent the tour was maybe an hour and a half. And I'm trying to think how long the tour was in Bruges, probably around the same, because these cities are pretty small.
Yeah.
But Ghent, it's hard for me to decide between Ghent and Bruges, because those, I think, are probably two of my favorite small, charming, very old cities.
Okay, I was gonna ask you which one was your favorite, so you kind of a tie.
It's really hard. I mean, they both have their own charm. Bruges is old, like old. Ghent is very old, but I think Bruges technically takes the lead as far as like certain parts of the city being even older than other parts. And I think Ghent, mostly some of the history goes back to maybe like 700s, whereas in Bruges you have places that are like, I don't want to say like way older than that, because how much older than, you know, but it's just like, oh, this was in the before the hundreds. This part of the town existed. That's crazy. Things like that. Wow. But Ghent really is such a gem of a city. It's so charming. It's so beautiful. It's so like, I felt like Bruges was a little bit more spread out, whereas Ghent, you're like, you feel like you're just on top, like everything's kind of
that's cool.
Not on top of each other. It doesn't feel claustrophobic, but it really feels like the city just like envelops you.
Ooh,
like you're kind of it's hard to explain, but it really is so beautiful. And I was looking back at pictures, and just like, what a sweet time we had. We just had such a wonderful time walking around. And then after the tour, we took the guys' suggestions. And we went and we had a snack at one place. We went and got beers at this other place. And Ghent is known for a lot of beers that are only served in Ghent. And of course, I'm blanking right now on what kinds they are. But it's just like, a lot of these Belgian cities are very proud of their beer, of their you know, whatever food they have, whether it's more French-leaning cuisine or more Flemish-leaning cuisine. But Ghent, we went to this really cool place that served like every beer you could ever think of, and then all the ones that were specific to Ghent, which was really cool. And it's on the water. Like, a lot of these cities have little waterways that you can get a little water tour. Now, we didn't do the water tour in Ghent like I ended up doing in Bruges with my parents. But we just sat on the water and drank our beer. It was so marvelous. But one of the city's most famous attractions, and this place is really cool, is called the Gravenstein Castle. Okay. And our tour guide, I'm pretty sure he was a teacher of some kind, or had maybe gone to college in Ghent. Like, he he was from Ghent, first of all,
Okay.
but he also, I think, was a teacher of history. So of course it makes sense that he would want to do the tour because he just has this wealth of knowledge. So he was telling us all these really interesting factoids about different parts of the city.
It's cool.
That were really historical, but then also these little things that were just like fun things that you might not hear on a typical tour.
Yeah.
So the castle was built in the 12th century, and it served as the seat of the counts of Flanders.
Ooh.
So very fancy, and it's this really cool, like, fortress-looking castle. I mean, it's awesome, and it's like right in the middle of the water. It's like it's not like it's got a moat around it, but it definitely has like water around it. But yeah, today it's a really popular tourist destination, and it basically offers visitors a chance to explore inside if you want. We didn't go inside, but you can see it from the outside. But then also if you want to go inside, you can. It's so cool. But one of the things that he said that I thought was so interesting was that in November of 1949, there were a bunch of college students, like almost 150 college students from the University of Ghent, that took over the castle. They did like this big protest because for some reason the government, and I don't know if it was just like the local government in Ghent, or maybe it must have been the local government, had increased the price on beer.
Oh, that's
and they were so mad, and so they like took over the castle, which wasn't even being used. Like, this is in 1949. This isn't even in medieval times.
No.
But they just like took over the castle, and they were like doing all this crazy stuff, and it was like this whole thing. Now I can't remember if they then lowered the prices of beer, or if all these kids just got in trouble and they just had to deal with it.
Yeah.
But it was just a bunch of crazy college kids.
Let's storm the castle.
Like, shortly after World War II, literally storming the castle because they were pissed about the price of beer.
Well, that makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
Hey, sounds about right for college kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh. But
you know though, with the tour guides, it's like, you're making me think it's really fun to always have a tour guide that has like a personality.
Oh yeah, this guy had a great personality.
Yeah.
Because cool. I did a tour the tour that I did in Bruges. This lady was so boring.
Really?
Like, I was with
it's a hit or miss.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think when I talked about Bruges, I told you that I went with my parents, but I also went with my cousin and her husband. I did the walking tour with my cousin and her husband, and there was another tour that was a little bit either behind or ahead of us, and we kind of, I think they were behind us because we started hearing the guy who was doing that tour. He was awesome. And my sister had said, there's this really great guy that he did. So they had gotten that guy when they went to Bruges.
Dang.
And so this guy, we were like kind of hanging back, and we ended up just joining like this other tour group. I felt so bad. I was like, this girl's so boring. I feel so bad. Funny. But also, like, she just wasn't a great tour guide, and she wasn't getting into the stories, and like, we were literally
and you're here once, like, wanting to get the full effect.
Exactly. And we tipped both of them, just so you know.
You
we
tipped
gave her a little bit of tip. And then
so you tipped her before you abandoned her, right? Just kidding.
No, we actually, like, at the end, we came back around and we, like,
oh, you're like, we're back. That was great. We were hiding in the back of the
It was so funny. We were literally laughing at ourselves the whole time. That's like, so what are we doing? Funny. But we just really wanted to hear the stories. He was telling all these really cool stories.
No,
so,
I totally get it.
That guy in Bruges was awesome. But then, when I was in Ghent, we did get a really great guy. He was awesome. So, yeah, it really does make a difference when they know how to tell a story and know how to not just tell history in a factual way, but really engage
and
you.
And they, like, make jokes and, like, animate it, and they kind of,
and they interact with you, you know, as a person. But, yeah, so he was great. And so he took us all around. There are a couple really beautiful cathedrals that are very well known in Ghent, but one of them, St. Bavo Cathedral, is probably one of the best known. And that was built in 1274.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful city, and what it's known for, aside from its history and just all the different beautiful buildings that exist there in, you know, the castle and the cathedrals, it's also known to be kind of an arts hub and a cultural hub. It has a lot of art galleries, a lot of museums, a lot of theater, which of course I love. So Ghent is a place that, for me, I would love to go back to Bruges, but I know that Ghent is a place, and now I've been to Bruges twice. I've done two day trips there. Ghent I want to go back and actually spend a couple days in Ghent.
Yeah.
Because of the nightlife. Because they have a great nightlife. They have, again, these museums. I'd love to learn more and do more in the city, but also I'd love to see some of their theater, some of their art galleries. And, of course, I'm sure Bruges has that as well.
Right.
But Ghent is known for that. So Ghent would definitely be my pick as far as going back and experiencing more of the full experience, getting to stay the night there and actually do the nightlife.
Yeah,
so,
that'd be really cool.
Yeah, but that's Ghent. You know, it's a small, sweet city that has a lot to offer, but just a quick little episode.
Love it. Travel Brats, you've got to go to Brussels.
You have to go to Belgium and just explore. I mean, it really is. I know all of these. Brussels, Antwerp.
What am I
Ghent,
missing? Brussels, Antwerp, Ghent,
Namur. And those are the places that I've been. So I've been to five major cities in Belgium.
And me too, living vicariously through you.
Yes,
We,
of course, all
together
of you living vicariously. You have visited these places.
The Travel Brats, I know you guys feel like as if you are here. You guys should totally go visit Brussels and Ghent and Antwerp and I'm forgetting one again. Bruges, Namur. All of them,
hey,
guys.
Job.
They're all amazing. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And as always, I will be posting photos this week about Ghent, and you'll see my sweet little niece in her little carrier. Well, you won't really see her. You'll just see that there's a lump where a little baby is, and she's close to 2 now. I can't believe it. But thank you guys for coming along with me to Ghent.
And the fabulous country of, it's too early.
That's right.
Of
Belgium.
Belgium. Bye, Belgium.
Bye, guys.
Peace out, guys. See you next week.